Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Not Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. We're ahead of Manchester City against Wolves on Friday, May the 2nd. Just wanted to go through last night's Mayday fixture, update on the match centre and some ownerships for strikers, and then I shall run the record for what was done yesterday and then back with an outro shortly. Okay, so let's have a look at the match centre from yesterday. So Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 2. Goal scorers were Sharda and Visser. And your tier points for Forest were Murillo with tier 1 tackles. Nobody with the passes. With the shots was Murillo 1, Anderson 1 and Elanga 3. Brentford tackles, Yarmaluk, Mbuemo and Wissa all tier 1. Again, nobody with the passes. Flecken with tier 3 saves and an assist for a 15-pointer for anybody that's still got him. And then shots tier 1 for Vandenberg, Sharda and Visser. So the double-digit point scorers were Flecken 15, Collins, who had an assist, 10, and that's it. We'll have a look, see who was bought in. So striker ownership. So Mbuemo now at 28.34. He went up from 13.9 yesterday. Wood 14.7. He went up from 9.5. And Visser went up from 1.1 to 2.1. They are the players who were brought in. Well, not before time. The Premier League have finally decided to announce the rearranged fixtures for the 4 teams that have postponed fixtures due to the FA Cup final on the penultimate weekend between Crystal Palace and Manchester City. And as predicted, those games are going to be pushed back into the midweek of the week after the FA Cup final. And I thought they were going to be played on Thursday the 22nd of May, but it looks like that both games, which are Manchester City against Bournemouth and Crystal Palace against Wolves, are going to be played on Tuesday, May the 20th at 8 o'clock. The Sky fixture is going to be Manchester City against Bournemouth, and they might well be still in contention for Champions League place for next year. So we have the final layout now. 4 single game days to go, the first of which is Friday, May the 2nd, Manchester City against Wolves. Then on Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, here in the UK, we have Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. Then on the Friday night before the FA Cup final, Friday, May the 16th, we have Chelsea against Manchester United. And then on the Monday after the FA Cup final, Monday, May the 19th, we have Brighton against Liverpool. And then the 2 games aforementioned on Tuesday, May the 20th, are part of a double header fixture. So, where does that leave us with looking for players to bring in? So, it looks like the striker options are going to be the ones to hopefully garner us some points. Now, where are we looking for those players? Obviously, Forest against Brentford has already been played, and a lot of people will have brought in Chris Wood or Brian Mbuemo. But where do we look for the others? So to my mind, the teams that have actually got fixtures that matter to their clubs range from 3rd place Newcastle down to 11th place Brentford. Now, spoiler alert, this part has been recorded on Thursday before the Forest-Brentford game, and I'm going to do the introduction to the show tomorrow with some ownership stats for Mbuemo and Chris Wood, and we will also know then the result of that match. But from 3rd down to 11th includes Newcastle, Manchester City, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest Aston Villa, Fulham, Brighton, Bournemouth and Brentford. And with Mo Salah, part of the champions Liverpool, who they've got some tough fixtures, I think he still will want to at least get the goal involvement record, which means he needs 2 more, either 2 goals, 2 assists or 1 of each between now and then, and the chances are he'll probably do it. Isak, whose Newcastle side are currently in 3rd but do have some tricky fixtures. Manchester City, Haaland's back in training, so they have Marmoush and Haaland. Chelsea, still in contention for the Conference League, and they do need points in their Premier League games, but they've got tricky fixtures. Nottingham Forest, as mentioned, playing on Thursday. Then we have the likes of Aston Villa, out of the FA Cup now, so all of their eggs are in the Champions League basket for next year. Fulham, they're currently in 8th, Brighton in 9th, Bournemouth in 10th, and Brentford in 11th. So then it's a case of looking for who do we think is actually going to score some goals to get these points. Now, we need to move back and look at the fixtures. So for Villa, they have Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, Manchester United away, a nice looking set, even more so when you consider Tottenham and Manchester United will hopefully, for their point of view and English club's point of view, be involved in a Europa League final surrounding those 2 matches, because it's to be played on the midweek in between, Wednesday 21st of May. And Marcus Rashford is currently injured. So you would think that Ollie Watkins is going to take the up-front position. Next alphabetically is Brighton. Now they have João Pedro injured, so does that mean that Welbeck is a good option? It could, but then you look at their fixtures, they still play Newcastle this week, they visit an informed Wolves, they host Liverpool, and then they visit Tottenham. Bournemouth. Evan Nielsen is back. His red card from the match against Manchester United last Sunday was rescinded, so he's back fit to play. But you look at their fixtures, they play Arsenal away. Fair enough, Arsenal might be rotated, but it's still Arsenal and it's still away. They play Aston Villa at home the following week, which is obviously a key matchup for both of them. They then visit Manchester City in that all-important match, possibly, that's rearranged for Tuesday, May the 20th, and they finish at home to Leicester City. Brentford play Nottingham Forest today, then they play a probably rotated Manchester United on Sunday, Ipswich away the following Saturday, then they place Fulham, which could be a Europa League or a Conference League playoff game between the pair, and they visit Wolves on the final week. Chelsea, they play Liverpool and then Newcastle and then Manchester United and Nottingham Forest. Everybody's neutral is hoping that the Nottingham Forest v Chelsea match is going to be a Champions League playoff on the last day of the season. But that's a tricky set of fixtures, and Chelsea do play 2 Conference Leagues in between. So are their strikers going to play? Then we look down to Manchester City. They have Wolves and Southampton. Then a gap to Bournemouth and Fulham. So those that have got Marmoush are probably keeping at least till they play Southampton. Then it might be a chance to move off, because if Haaland's back, is he going to take over Marmoush's duties for the last 2 games? Newcastle, Isak, obviously their main striker, a little bit off it, still scoring, but not hauling. And they play Brighton, which, as already discussed, tricky game. Then they play Chelsea, another game against one of their rivals, and at Arsenal away, and then they finish at home to Everton. Nottingham Forest have on paper what seems an easier set of fixtures. Brentford today, then Palace away on Monday, then Leicester at home the following Sunday, West Ham away, and then they finish at home to Chelsea in what we hope is going to be a decider. So let's see if we move this back up one. Yeah. So we look at the strikers by ownership. So we see Salah and Isak in 2/3 of teams. Haaland is probably in dead teams. So we're looking at Marmoush and Mbeumo, Solanke, Wood, Watkins, Mateta, down to Rodgers are the ones that are over 5% of teams. So there's definitely an opportunity if you can pick the right striker here to fit in 2 or 3 up front. If you get the right one at the right time and you've got some transfers in hand, there's definitely gains to be made. I quite fancy myself Ollie Watkins. I don't think I'm going to be able to get there because I've gone for Mbeumo on Thursday for the captaincy, and I think my remaining move is going to be a striker move, and it could be that it becomes Ollie Watkins later in the season, but that remains to be seen. Those that have punted on Cunha, doing okay with that. Rodgers has been going well so far this season. Evan Nielsen, only 2.2%. It's got competition in the side, obviously, with Semenyo and Kluivert. But yeah, there's the options. There's plenty there. We'll start with the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday, which was Chelsea 1, Everton 0. Goalscorer Nicholas Jackson. Tier points for Chelsea. In the tackles, we had Colwill and Caicedo with 1. Cucurella with 2. Passes, Cucurella, Colwill, Chalobah, all 1 apiece. Sanchez with tier 1 saves. And the shots, Jackson tier 1, Cucurella tier 2, and Madueke tier 3. For Everton, in the tackles, Garner and Decore tier 1, Patterson and Gehi tier 2. In the passes, Branthwaite tier 1. And in the saves, Pickford tier 3. Shots, Gehi, Beto and McNeil all tier 1. Brighton 3, West Ham 2. Goal scorers for Brighton, Ayari, Mitoma and Balibar. For West Ham, Kudus and Souček. Tier points for Brighton in the tackles, Stupinan tier 1, Balibar and Weaver tier 2, Adringa tier 3. In the passes, Balibar, Dunk, Weaver, Hinshelwood all tier 1. In the shots, tier 1s for Balibar, Dunk, Ayari, O'Reilly and Mitoma. And tier 2s for Estupinan and Weaver. For West Ham, tackles, tier 1 Souček, passes, tier 1 Paqueta, tier 2 Kilman, Areola tier 3 saves. Shots, Wan-Bissaka and Kudos tier 1, Souček tier 2. Next games, Newcastle 3, Ipswich 0. Goal scorers Isak, Byrne and Asula. Tier points, tackles for Trippier, tier 1, passes, Share and Tonali, tier 2. Trippier was tier 2, tackles as well. Trippier, tier 3. In the shots, Byrne, Guimaraes, Isak, Gordon and Asula, all tier 1 apiece. For Ipswich, tackles only, Johnson, tier 1, but he did end up with a yellow and a red card, and O'Shea, tier 2. Southampton 1, Fulham 2. Goal scorers were Stevens for Southampton, and Smith-Rowe and Sessegnon for Fulham. Tier points, Mateus Fernandes, tier 1 tackles for Southampton, nobody in the passes. Ramsdale tier 1 saves, and then Stevens, Walker-Peters and Sulemena all tier 1 shots. For Fulham, Sessegnon and Tete tier 3 tackles, Bassi and Anderson tier 3 passes, Sessegnon, Anderson, Jimenez tier 1 shots, and Smith-Rowe tier 2 off the bench. Next up, Wolves 3, Leicester 0. Goal scorers were Cunha, Strand-Larsen and Rodrigo Gomez for Wolves. Tier points, tackles, Agbadou. Tier 1 tackles, João Gomez, tier 2 and Andre tier 3. Passes, Doherty tier 2, Totti Gomez and Agbadou tier 3. And in shots, Aït-Nouri tier 1, Strand-Larsen tier 1 and Matheus Cunha tier 3. For Leicester, in the tackles, Ricardo Pereira and Buonanotte tier 2, Ndidi tier 3. Passes, Face tier 1, and then shots, Cody and Vardy tier 1. Vardy's shot on target was a saved penalty, which led to Jose Sá getting 13 pointer. Well done, anybody who has him. Sunday's games, Bournemouth 1, Manchester United 1. Goal scorers were Semenyo for Bournemouth and Højlund, 96th minute equaliser for Manchester United. Tier points, Ouattara tier 1 tackles, nobody in the passes for Bournemouth, Kepa with tier 3 saves and Semenyo their only shot on target for a 1 point bonus. Manchester United, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes tier 1 tackles, Shaw and Bruno Fernandes tier 1 passes, shots tier 1s for Maguire, Mainu, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho, Højlund and Obi off the bench. And then late game, Super Sunday, title winning game, Liverpool 5, Tottenham 1. Goal scorers were Solanke, gave Tottenham an early lead, then Luis Diaz, McAllister, Gakpo, Salah and an Udogie own goal. Tier points for Liverpool, tackles, tier 1 for Gravenberch, tier 3 for McAllister, passes, tier 2 for Konate, tier 3 for Van Dijk, and the shots, Robertson, Gravenberch, Gakpo, Szoboszlai, Mohamed Salah and Luis Diaz, tier 1, McAllister, tier 2. For Tottenham, Udogie, tier 3 tackles for tier 1, and nobody in the passes. Sarr tier 1 shots off the bench and Solanke tier 2. While we're on the Phase 2 site, we'll have a quick look for the first time this spring at the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show League. In 10th place is Johnny Goodall, Saka Spuds, 466. 9th, Tim Barry, Tarkovsky, 488. 8th, Aaron Oldroyd, Bring Out the Bantams, 504. 7th place, our very own Mike Warlow, FF Stuff, Champion, 508. 6th, Stephen Grieve, Grievos Greats, 510. 5th, Michael Blackburn, Blackburn's Rovers, 534. 4th, yours truly, with E Internationals, 555. 3rd, Craig with Zippy as an Asshole, 573. 2nd is Nathan, Thanks for the Game, Ian, 584. And top of the shops is John Logan. Hello, John, with his team 3 a.m. at the border of the marsh from the Okefenokee. I'll have to ask him about that. That's a reference lost on me, John. And we'll have a look at the overall leaderboard in Phase 2. So it's 10th, Edith Blackburn, Woo v Shmoo, 530. Michael Blackburn is in 9th, yours truly 8th. Peter Clinch, Mr. Vicarious, 557. Craig in 6th. Dale Pointer with School of Science is 5th, 578. Nathan is 4th. John is 3rd. Melvin Paul with Melvinio Cloud FF is 2nd at the minute with 621. And at the top of the shop is Leon Wolf with Vinny's Victors, 626. Well done, Leon. In the main game, In 16th, joint 16th, we have Dominic Moran, Quick Pick FC, and John Trigg, the Black Sheep, both 3134. 15th, Robert Hunt, Rasmus Taz, 3145. 14th, Stolberg, Looney Tunes, 3146. 13th, Dean Hicks, We Go Again, 3157. 12th, Mark Hawes, Titus Shambles, 3162. 10th, Thomas Lavelle, Blue Sky Thinking, 3167, joint with Colin Bennon, Spartak Missile. 9th, Elliot Mann, Die Mannschaft, 3172. 8th, Neil Fleeson, Rumely Villa, 3191. 7th, Matt Williamson, D'Artagnan, 3193. 6th, Julian Wardle, His Heroes, 3196. 5th, Adrian Gage, Ruby's Warriors, 3198. 4th, Mark Berry, Nunes on the Run, 3203. And then the top three, Shane White, Mexico United, 324. 2nd, Mark McFadden, McFlurry Rose, 3227. And Jez Page at the top still, 3234. A look at the team and the fixtures for this week ahead then. So the planned move is to bring Vardiol for Robinson for the single game day on Friday. Gives me double coverage. Robinson had a knock last week. Vardiol's playing for a better team. Same number of fixtures. Possible future single game days as well. So that's the planned move. Leaves me one transfer for the rest of the season, which I'd likely use on an attacking player somewhere. Maybe Cliver or Murphy could be moved up. I've got 2.4 in the bank, so I can easily get over 5 million from those players. We'll see how it plays out. There'll probably be an injury somewhere along the line. But as per previous seasons of these kind of formats, running out of transfers now. Needed to keep a few more in the bank. No such thing as too many transfers at the back end of any season, and this is no different, and I'm running out now. So the fixtures ahead, Manchester City against Wolves is the Friday night game, 8 o'clock kickoff. City qualified for the FA Cup final on Sunday. Wolves have won 7 on the trot, I think, but all against teams lower than in the table. This will be a tougher test. I think City will score, so will Wolves, but City to score one more, 2-1 home win. Early kick-off on Saturday is Aston Villa at home to Fulham. Villa didn't qualify for the FA Cup final last weekend. They lost 3-0 to Crystal Palace. So they need to get back to winning ways to have any chance of reaching the Champions League again for a second consecutive season. I think they'll score. I think Watkins will play up front. He'll probably score. Rashford is injured, so Watkins will get the up front gig for the rest of the season, you'd think. 2-1 home win. Everton host Ipswich in one of 2 3 o'clock kickoffs where all 3 relegated sides play. Everton v Ipswich is the first one. I think if anything's nailed on for a 1-0 home win, this would be a banker. Everton have improved under Moyes. They haven't been too attacking, but they've been pretty good defensively. Yeah, 1-0 win. Ipswich not to trouble the scorers. Leicester against Southampton is the other 3 o'clock. This is where Southampton have a chance to overtake Derby's points record. It's the lowest in Premier League history. I don't think they're the worst team in history. In fact, Leicester, who they're playing, I think they're better than this season. Will they get the point? I think they probably will. They might even win the game. I think if anybody's going to win, it'll be Southampton. But I'm going to put 1-1 draw, fairly drab, poor quality. Nobody's good enough to keep a clean sheet, but nobody's good enough to score twice. Then Arsenal against Bournemouth. Arsenal, who were outplayed by PSG on Tuesday in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. I think there'll be much changed, especially in the forward areas. I imagine that Bournemouth will be good enough to score. They might even be good enough to win. In fact, on my coupon, I might even put an away win down. I think that'll be reasonably good odds for the teams as I would expect to see them. Yeah, 2-1 away win for Bournemouth. Then on Sunday, there's a trio of early kickoffs at 2 o'clock. So you'll see the lineups for Brighton against Newcastle, Brentford against Manchester United, and West Ham against Tottenham. Brighton against Newcastle. Newcastle still pushing on for Champions League. Brighton still pushing on for European qualification. Again, another team where both teams will score. I think might be some... I don't think there's many clean sheets about this weekend. Let's put it that way. I think Brighton, this could be 1-1, could be 2-2. I think Newcastle might just have enough quality to nick the game 2-1 away. Brentford at home to Manchester United, who will be much changed, I expect, after their Europa League semi-final in midweek and ahead of the return leg. Brentford, been on form, got some good talent up front with Wissa and Mbemo. I think they'll win. I think they'll probably win fairly handy. United, I doubt, will score. I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win. West Ham against Tottenham, probably a battle. I listened to Planet FPL on, I think it was Monday this week, and they were saying this is a game where neither team really want to be playing in it. Tottenham will have been in a Europa League semi-final and ahead of the return leg as well, similar to Manchester United. West Ham just haven't been pulling up many trees. If there's going to be a winner, I think it'll be West Ham, but again, it could be a draw. I think another 1-1 could even be 2-2. And then Chelsea against Liverpool. So Chelsea have been playing in the Conference League semi-final in midweek, and they've got the return leg next week. Liverpool have probably had a couple of days of celebrations after winning the title on Sunday. They probably won't care if they win, but Salah will probably care if he's scoring or assisting for the goal contributions record. Again, could be high scoring this. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, I think. Then Monday Night Football is Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest also hoping to stay on track for the Champions League. I'm not quite convinced they're going to be good enough to win at Palace, who are improved. Monday night should be a good atmosphere as well at Selhurst after the FA Cup semi-final. Well, they had a victory, didn't they? And Forest had a defeat last weekend. I'm going to go for another score draw here. So plenty of goals about, I think. This I'm going to put down as 1-1. I think it could be a Mateta and Chris Woods both score. Well, thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. If you have done, please leave the video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. If you want to use the transfer planners that have been utilised throughout the show, you'll find those over on patreon.com/Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. In the meantime, enjoy the bank holiday weekend, enjoy the football, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.